being recorded. Ladies, we have another case of it's all men here. This is again another Bourbon Bougie video. And it just occurred to me as I was watching this, I don't watch her for content, okay? You have to understand this. I just watch her because at this point, she's entertainment. All the things that they're talking about, I already know all of this. I just like supporting her. And I like to also put my ears down for things that women say that might change what the calculus of what I have already concluded, right? So that is my way of checking to make sure my work is correct, basically, right? And it just really strikes me that continuously these stories are the same, okay? And this is yet another story of men behaving like men. And this, I want you to listen to this. Who it's this one story, but I'm trying to get to the beginning right now.
Last leftover slice from a floor to just tell me what you think. We have been talking about how men weaponize food. And once you start talking about it and once you see it, you can't unsee it. You see how men really do use this as a weapon to control.
You can't unsee it. When you hear me talk about parthenogenesis and how males are parasites and all of these things, and you're probably thinking, we need the science, we need the science, we need the science. You have to understand that I realized this years ago. I knew this years ago, right? This is not just a new discovery. This was years ago that I discovered this. I just hadn't come out here to actually talk about it at that time. Yeah. So to me, it's like it is so obvious now because I can't unsee it because I can no longer unsee it. And that is why I jump on here like, open your eyes, open your eyes, open your ears, open the cells in between your ears, open your brain cells, because it is so obvious you cannot unsee it once you've seen it. And on the flip side, I realized that you also have to see the science like I did. Because the reason I was able to believe it was because I walked myself through the science. I walked myself through the thinking and also the science. But you haven't had that experience, right? So everything is just going to be like, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. It's all just hot talk, right? It's not. It's literal science. So I am actually, don't worry, I'm preparing that for you right now. And it's going to take some time because I have to remember how my mind was and all the evidences that I needed to convince me so that it can convince you as well. Because I can't just tell you the things that I know now the way I know them now. It would just be like another another episode of conspiratorial ranting. But it needs to be something so compelling that you yourself, you will walk away understanding that this is exactly what we are dealing with, and there will be no doubt to you that you are capable of parthenogenesis. And that is why the science is taking so long, because I am still in my advanced stage of mind, and I'm trying to get it down to when I was nascent. When I was nascent and I needed to be walked through every little granular step. But let's go back. Let's go back to this. And she's right. Once you've seen it, you cannot unsee it. Just gonna fast forward it.
to just show dominance or something like that. So this woman named Sammy Lee, she posted under divorce thread. She says, cheesecake is my favorite dessert. One time my ex ate the last leftover slice from a really special cheesecake I bought for an occasion, and I kind of figured he'd leave it for me. And when I said so, he went on a rant saying, oh, I have to ask permission to eat the food that my salary buys. Me, no, but you know it's my favorite, and you don't even like cheesecake. Him, no, I don't, but it's better than nothing. Another time I had a half tray of a potato bake left over in the fridge. I went to work thinking I would use it as a side dish that night. I bought some meat to cook with it. He worked from home that day and ate the entire half tray of potato bake for lunch. When I asked him why he would do that, as the potato bake was clearly a side dish and I was going to use it for dinner, he scoffed at me for thinking there are rules around food. She continues, I used to cook double batches of food so we could use the leftovers a second night, which would cut down on my cooking time. I would give him a large serving, but he would routinely go looking for more and eat the leftovers. I took to putting them in Tupperware before I served dinner and refrigerating it. When he saw me doing it, he accused me of controlling his food intake and once again brought up how his salary paid for the food and he would eat whatever he wants. And so this right here, this speaks to how they clearly like to dominate your time and energy. So she, even though it was his salary, and she's working too, but she has to go to the grocery store. She has to plan things out. She has to use her energy and time to cook, and they have absolutely no regard for that. It keeps
something else.
She's constantly working, constantly moving with very little time to sit down and chill out because you think cooking takes a lot of energy. You cook in a bigger batch. Cool, you have leftovers. That's what normal people do. But when people eat like this, they are trying to make sure that you are constantly having to cook.
And this is the insidiousness of these males. And another proof that they're liars, right? Because there's literally proof upon proof upon proof upon proof of every little thing that I've been saying, okay? The entire, one of the tenets of marriage is that you were supposed to treat him like your family, like your blood, but he treats you like you are another species. People, I mean, you probably have never noticed that. But in my studying this issue, I studied it not only on a scientific level, but on a religious level, on a social level, on a behavioral level, on a psychological level, on a historical level, right? Cultural levels. I studied it in various ways. Okay? This is how I know I am right. I studied it in various ways. And the thing that I noticed was that the way they want you to treat them is how you would treat your child, you know, or your family members. Like, for instance, your mom, the way you would treat your mom. If your mom were to live with you, right? You would do everything freely for your mom, right? Exactly as your mom did it for you. There wouldn't be anything about this is my house and that is your house, etc. Right? Right? You wouldn't have that stuff. You would simply be giving to each other. You would simply be giving to each other. And that is how they want you to treat them. That is how you treat your child. That's how your mom would have treated you if she wasn't damaged, that is, if she wasn't traumatized. That's how your mom would have treated you. That's how they want you to treat them like they are your kin. But they don't treat you like you are their kin. They treat you like you are a disgusting thing at the bottom of their shoe. It's exactly how you treat something that's not your species, that you also despise. It isn't just that they're not our species, right? Because we don't treat cats like this. We don't treat dogs like this. We treat rats, spiders, roaches. We treat things that are too far beyond our scope of genus. Our the species tree, right? The ones that are really far removed from us are the ones that get this treatment. The ones where we can see how they are similar to us, they are the ones that get, they're the ones that get the true, the humane treatment from us. Even lions who prey on us, because we can see how they are the same as us, right? So we treat them with more humaneness than we do cockroaches, than we do rats. It isn't just that they are a different species. It is that we are so far from being the same that we disgust each other. And because they know it, they know that they are not the same as us. This is why they are able to treat us like that. But we don't know that they are not the same as us because they have our faces. They have our features, the human feature. They have it. That is why we see ourselves in them, and therefore we treat them like we would treat our kin. These things that you're seeing, none of it is by coincidence. None of it is by accidents. None of it is by chance. It is all relating to this very issue. If you want to go into the comments and name for me any issue, I will literally make a video to show you how it is related to this issue. Everything is related to this very issue. These males and kin. They are not kin. They are not our species.
So Sammy Lee didn't have the word for it. She says, I don't know what this is called. Food manipulation, weaponized eating. It sounds awful laid out in the thread, but at the time he made me feel ridiculous for complaining about leftovers. And it's hard to find the words when you're in the thick of it to explain that it's not about the food, but the lack of consideration for me or my time as a person who shopped and cooked for the whole family. Anyone else experienced this? And a lot of people have experienced this. And even though she didn't have the words for it at the time, I did come in and say that men are weaponizing food. But when you don't have the words for it, sometimes they can make you think that you're being ridiculous. But like she said, she felt it. She knew that something was wrong. She knew that it was off, that he's sitting up here doing this, and it is a lack of consideration. To eat someone's cheesecake and you know that that is their favorite.
And this is one of the things that would have turned her off of him. That would have turned her off of him, right? One of the things that your biology tells you is what is human behavior. And when you see something outside of that which is labeled as human behavior, it turns you off.
That is absolutely appalling. Why would you do that? That just shows that you're selfish and entitled.
So basically that is to say that you don't clock humanity just by the look. You don't clock the lack of humanity just by the look. It isn't just the phenotype that drives the messaging to you who is human and who is not. It is the behavior as well. It is so many more. It is so many things. And this is actually the only reason. This is actually the only reason why we can actually ferret out this thing that I'm telling you. This is the only reason why we can even know that this problem even occurred, that this problem even exists, as I'm telling you that it does. Because they are different, because they behave differently, because we have a system that tells us what is human and what is not. Because of that is an actual natural design in every organism. And so the signs have been there long ago. The signs have been there long ago, telling us something is not right with these males. Before I even got into this space, because I was trying to answer the question of what was wrong with these males. That I kept hearing women asking. I kept hearing women asking what was wrong with these males. And at the time, I wasn't even dating that much for me to even know that women are experiencing these things. I just kept hearing from women what was wrong with this man.
She started this conversation, and then like whenever these types of posts start, the comments start to roll in because so many people have experienced some of these things. Oh, this one pissed me smooth off, and I don't even eat pork chops. But Megan says, I made a pan of smothered pork chops one night. They were on the small side, and 6 of them fit in my pan. I took 1 1/2. The half fell apart, and I didn't fish it out. Watched my ex load 3 on his plate, and as he was scooping the 4th, I asked him to please leave it so I can have lunch the next day. He pouted, bottom lid stuck out. Oh, they look so good, and I already took the last of the potatoes. Men, 0 out of 10. She's not recommending them. But she made 6, ate 1 1/2, and she just wanted 1 more for himself. But he wanted to take 4 pork chops. How inconsiderate is that? And to that, legal cat says, selfish bastards. And then Megan says, he lost his job in April of this year and made little to no effort to acquire a new one. Still expected his bills to be paid, though. I really do hope, did she say X? Okay, yeah, she did say X. Okay, so she's not paying his bills. Good.
See that? Another instance of wanting to be treated like family, right? He wanted, because the reason you would pay somebody's bills, carte blanche, is that they are your family. Because they would do that for, and the opposite side of that is the opposite, and that might have triggered you. That might have triggered you, like, why do you pay somebody's bills? Because they will do the same thing to you, because this is how you would treat your family. Because this is only how you would treat your family. The reason it is even a problem is because of these males amongst us. If you think about a matriarchal society where the males don't exist, have never existed, yeah, this issue of whose bills is it would not even come up. It would be you would do everything together. You need help, they would give you help. They need help, you would give them help. That is why then it becomes an even exchange. And the reason this bill issue thing is even an issue is because of males.
We have another Megan, but this is Megan Nerd. She says resource hoarding. There's been a lot of this discourse lately.
Okay. It was actually Verb who started this conversation about resource hoarding, about men weaponizing food. Yeah, it was her who started this conversation, at least from what I know. Okay, which great accolade to her. I've known that existed. I have known that existed. I simply didn't have the words for it. Now here's the thing: when they tell you about capitalism and this and that and dictatorships and socialism and all that stuff, and how who is the problem and who is not, and the corporate and the corporate elitists are the ones who are problematic amongst us, etc. And it's not all men and all that crap, right? And I tell you, it is all of them. Now tell me, if these men are doing this at their stage of life, which is their brokenness, right, which is their average Joe nonsense, the Joe Schmo level. If they are doing this at the Joe Schmo level, let's say we get rid of all the corporatists, yeah, all the capitalists, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, the Apple CEOs and all that. We get rid of all of them because they are causing us all this trouble. They are causing us all of these issues. All the diamond mine bigwigs over there, right? All the warmongers, all the oil execs, etc. What if we get rid of all of them? Because supposedly in society they are the problem, right? That's what the men want us to believe, that they are the problem, because they have to make you believe that, so that you don't get that the male is the problem, because that would include them, right? So let's say we get rid of all of them. The big farmers. Let's say we get rid of them. What do you think happens if all those guys are hoarding resources, right? And these guys, and we get rid of them, and these guys move into their place? What do you think is going to happen? The same exact thing will happen, because they are already doing it. When you say patriarchy, it is the elitists who created patriarchy. I said no. Patriarchy is in every single male. Every single male has patriarchy, because that is what he needs to get one of you. That is what he needs to get a female. He needs to have patriarchy in him, which is controlling a female. That is patriarchy. The things that he needs to control a female is patriarchy. That means if you get rid of all the ones who we say, they're the ones who created patriarchy, and all the head of states and all the military bigwigs and all the generals and all that stuff, and the politicians, you will get the same exact dynamic as we have now, because it is a male problem. Every single male has in him patriarchy. They are hoarding resource at their little corner of the world that they have. He is already behaving this way, exactly how all the billionaires are doing. This is another reason why it is all of them. They are doing the exact same thing. Joe Schmo scale. They are doing the exact same thing. It is all of them. Patriarchy is not hurting them, because they need patriarchy. Patriarchy has always been helping them. Without patriarchy, males can never win anything, because they are not supposed to even be in human society, which means they are not supposed to benefit anything from humans, from being in human society. They will win nothing. They would win absolutely 0 times. Without patriarchy, they could never win. Patriarchy is not hurting them. Patriarchy is helping them on a massive scale. It is all of them. The reason Obama can get a woman is because of the patriarchy that told his wife that he is supposed to have a husband. It's the only reason he could get a woman. It's all of them. And this guy, no, we're reading a story. We're reading stories about two guys now. Two different men now. Who they're not killing. They're not killing. They're not raping. It's not about them killing. It's not about them raping. They're probably doing those things, right? But we're not hearing those stories. And so if we see them on the outside, if we see them outside of at a workplace or something, or out and about at the beach, we can say, oh, that's a good guy. We can say, oh, that's a good guy. Only the guy is behaving exactly like all the billionaires in his home. He is behaving like all the billionaires who we know are problematic. He's behaving exactly like them. What I'm telling you is they don't have to kill for it to be all of them. They don't have to rape. They don't have to be abusive. They don't have to be anything. They simply have to be male because it's going to come out one way or another. The maleness is going to come out one way or another. When you make a child and then it takes on and it's given the man's name, that is patriarchy. That is literally theft of your child. You made that child. What the heck did he make? Have you watched the video where I talk about how many trillions of cells we have, and therefore how many trillions of cells the female body has to support, has to control and support, has to make, control and support? Who did that? You made that happen. You materialized a child that works on that level. You materialized an infant child from literally nothing. You materialize an infant child from next to nothing. And they said the man owns it. Tell me where they don't practice this, and then tell me it's some of them. Tell me where this is not a practice, that a man steals your child for himself. They want you to believe that because he used your sperm to make the child, therefore he owns the child. No, the actual molecular occurrences, the actual cellular occurrences, the cellular signaling say that you are the only one making a child, not even him. He is not making a child. He is only turning on that thing that they blocked, that thing in you that was already designed to make a child. He is only turning it on because they blocked it, but he only needed to turn it on because they blocked it. He only needed to turn it on because they blocked it. You are the only one making a child because it takes a female, two X's, to make a child, and he does not have that. If you do not have two X's, you do not have the apparatus to make a child. And only if you have two X's can you be human. It is all of them. It is all of them. And at different stages, in different behaviors, they're all going to show the problematic behaviors to different degrees at different times. It doesn't have to be that they're abusive and all these things. Those are just another bunch of lies to keep us not figuring out the truth. These are all lies to keep us from figuring out the truth. They do not need to be murderers. They do not need to have killed. They do not need to have raped or do all these problematic things.
And it is an abusive tactic that men use to keep women working. Yes, Megan Nerd. Always shopping, cooking, and cleaning, scrambling for resources that he keeps hoarding as he eats enough for 4 or 5 people in a sitting. They can't stand to see a woman rest or have a break. She has to be scrambling 24/7. So he feels entitled to her labor and all the resources while everyone else gets scraps. It's disgusting. And you see, these are white ladies saying this. These are white ladies saying this. This has no race. This is just a man thing. This is a lack of consideration. This is women across the spectrum that have been having these conversations, because even Megan says this has been a discourse lately. And then look at what Sammy Lee says. Ooh, yes. He also couldn't stand if I sat down and started reading the book. He'd sit down with me and be like, so what are you doing? I mean, looking for 10 minutes of peace? D-head? She did not call him a D-head. We have Danger Puddle. Danger Puddle says similar, though from an unintended roommate. A friend was moving back to my state and was trying to find a place to stay while he found a job in an apartment. I offered my office room and explained the very few rules of the house. Basically, be considerate. No rent or other money requested. He accepted and in the first week started ignoring any requests. He wasn't job hunting. He wasn't looking for his own place. Instead, he whined because I didn't live in the main downtown of a large city. I lived across the street from a large transit center with a bus direct to the downtown area he wanted. He just started eating everything that wasn't nailed down, but wouldn't clean up after himself. Every day, all my dishes were used. In less than 3 weeks, he ate over $800 worth of food. I couldn't even make dinner because by the time I got home from work, there was nothing to cook. But heavens forbid, I should ask him to contribute money. Not long after, I told him to get out. $800 worth of food? That's almost someone's rent. That's like Kaleidoscope Bug and says, where does the audacity come from? Like, I couldn't imagine thinking that this is acceptable. Danger Puddle says, no clue. We are no longer friends.
Guys, 3 guys now. 3 guys. And this is just one of maybe 5 videos that Burb has done on this very topic. And the one thing I noticed was in every one of the videos, content, etc., that talked about male behavior, problematic male behavior, right? Always this running theme, this constant theme of the same one, which is a lot of them are doing it. A lot of them are doing the same thing. But that is only possible if they come from the same template. You can only duplicate the same behavior if you are coming from a template, which is exactly why what I knew that made me say it's all of them. I knew that it was Y sourced, that it had to be what based on the genes on the Y chromosome. And by the way, the genes, the Y chromosome is only like a product of the genes of the Y, of the genes of this virus organism, trying to fit in, trying to deceive our X, our gene apparatus, that it is one of us, and it should go ahead and duplicate our genes, right? It should go ahead and use its genes to make us, to make a Homo sapien person. The Y chromosome is a subterfuge. A normal organism of which these males are originate from would not have a chromosome. The Y chromosome is it making itself like us, cloaking itself in something that is similar to us. Because we would have a control system. We would have a quality control system, right? Because we're doing too much to not have a quality control, right? So our quality control, which is if you're going to make, trillions of cells, you're gonna have to have a way to make sure everything works correctly. Yeah. So the quality control will be checking for things like, incomplete chromosomes. Incomplete chromosomes, too large, too long, too this, too that. Yeah, and that will be just one of a trillion things that it has to check for. So it would have to convince that same, that same system, that's the same quality control systems that it has in place to let it pass, through. That's why it has a Y chromosome. And because it is smaller, it didn't need a whole Y. It didn't need a whole size chromosome. It did enough just to pass through.
So the final straw was not the audacity here. It was him making light of and posting things mocking the destruction of the World Trade Center a few months after 9/11. And he didn't see anything wrong with the garbage he posted and threw a tantrum when his posts were reported. I am not the only one who was offended. Yeah, he sounds like a rubbish person all around. It's just Joanne says, imagine the disaster he left behind elsewhere. And then Danger Puddle says, I already have nightmares. I don't need more. This person, DRJF, says, after breaking up with my ex, I remained in the house while the sale of it was organized. One day, before I was legally allowed to change the locks, while I was out, he let himself in and ate an entire cake I had in the fridge for my birthday. When confronted, he said, it was only a cake and not to be so dramatic. She Saucy says, violence. And then Sammy Lee says, he just didn't want you to have it. And then DRGF says, pretty much, yeah. She continues, though, I had already been reporting other actions to the police, so put this theft on the growing list. Looking back after many years free of him, it was funny that eating an entire cake got legally recorded when I went for a restraining order. Imagine having to explain that to your solicitor. But it's not the point. It's just the inconsideration, it's the entitlement, it's the selfishness. So many of these stories, so many different women sharing the different ways.
This is exactly why there are hungry people, women, children, right? This is exactly why. This is male demonity right here. This is exactly why they are plaguing us. They don't believe that other humans have the right to eat. This is a plague. This is a disease. This is nothing but parasitism.
And like someone said, it's not just a romantic partner. Sometimes it's a friend, sometimes it's a brother, sometimes it's a dad doing this, where the dad is just eating, and everybody else is just sitting there just waiting so that they can have some scraps. All right, y'all, keep telling your stories. We will continue to have these discussions because you need to see and understand.
That's basically it. I don't want to hear anything about it's some men. It's all of them. It's not some men, it's all of them. Your dad was this way. Your uncle was this way. Your grandpa was this way. Your great grandpa was this way. Your hubby's this way. Your son is gonna be this way. Your nephew's gonna be this way. Your daughter's boyfriend is gonna be this way. Your principal is gonna be this way. Your professor's gonna be this way. Your mentor is gonna be this way. It's all of them. They're going to show one problematic male behavior after another because in order for them to win anything, they have to suck it out of females. They have to suck it out of us because our species is not designed for them, which means it doesn't benefit them. It is not designed to benefit them. So if they're getting any benefit from it, they are taking it from what we should be getting. They are taking it from what we should be getting.